Welcome into the Sports Room on this Monday show. This is the Sports Room, the sports show that actually talks about sports. I'm your co-host, Riley Evans. I said it right that time. Along with Derek Crystal, Darius Matthews. Like I said, Monday show, just coming off the weekend. How's everybody's weekend?
My weekend was fantastic. I can't complain. I got to sleep. I was sick, so it gave me an excuse to sleep all weekend.
Yeah, it was good. Titans lost, which is bad, but I'll take it. I'll take it in the sense that if the Ravens get in, I'd rather have the Jags get the division so the Titans play the Chiefs.
I kind of think the Titans suck.
I kind of agree with you, but I'm kind of in denial.
Because, I don't know, I just feel like they just aren't, they shouldn't be 8-5. They're 8-5, right?
Yeah.
Which is good. But I feel like they suck. I don't know.
But to be honest with you, if the Ravens get into the playoffs, I'd rather be the Titans playing the Chiefs than the Jags playing the Ravens.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. You been sick this weekend, Biggen?
I have been sick this weekend. The kids I work with don't wash their hands very well. And I washed my hands like a maniac this weekend.
I don't wash my hands.
Sanitize.
I lived with you,
I'm not
I know.
lying to anybody here. I wash it when maybe when I'm coming out of the bathroom. And hopefully you caught the maybe in there.
Maybe.
But it's just like other time, I don't wash my hands before I eat or something,
Right. I
Wrong.
don't either.
I do wash my hands
not before I eat.
I mean, look, I don't have beef with people who wash their hands, obviously, but I don't. Everyone's like, "Oh, you got to wash your hands first," and I'm just like, okay. That's what I tell people when they do that.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
I don't have to wash my hands.
I'm grown. If I want to get sick, I'm going to get sick. It's that simple.
There is, plain and simple.
That's disgusting. This is almost as bad as watching you present sports in a dress.
I love
What's
how
next,
you're
Bubba?
still trying to push this storyline that you didn't like that.
The dress?
You loved it.
Yeah, I loved seeing a 25-year-old
You loved that
Japanese
dress and wish
man.
that I would wear it every day.
Air day.
You sick freak. But it was a good weekend. But a lot happened this weekend.
Ooh.
There are a million things we could talk about today. Let's get started. Going into the sports, we're going to do a 2-minute drill. We're going to go through a bunch of the big headlines of the weekend, I guess, and we're going to try and do it in or around 2 minutes. I don't know if we're going to get to it. But first, let's talk about Baker Mayfield winning the Heisman on Saturday night. Pretty much a shoo-in going in. Everyone assumed that he was going to win, as did I. And no surprises, he did win. People were talking about how the margin wasn't as big as they had thought, but I don't think that really matters. Baker Mayfield, your Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, I think we all kind of saw it coming. I saw it coming. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't really even watch it because I knew he was going to win the Heisman.
Yeah. I watched it. I mean, I only watched it for the simple fact that looking at the numbers, Lamar Jackson was still very close, even though he didn't get a lot of media attention this year. But I did know Baker was going to win it, and I'm glad he did. He deserved it.
In a lot of ways, I think in most major statistical categories, Lamar Jackson is better this year than he was last year.
Yeah.
But I don't think there was any doubt that Baker Mayfield was the best player in college football this year with respect to what his team accomplished. I think Lamar was able to win it last year because his team was a lot better, obviously. But Baker Mayfield has been lights out this year. I didn't watch it. I feel like the Heisman doesn't really matter to me anymore. The last Heisman that I cared about was in 2009, Tim Tebow senior year when he finished second. But I don't know. I just don't feel like I care about the Heisman that much anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I still care, but I think that I love Baker Mayfield's trash talk. It's number one thing.
You love it.
Love it. Moving on.
That's a hot topic.
Yeah, love it. We'll get to that, maybe. Second thing is Giancarlo Stanton has been traded to the Yankees.
I'm excited.
I thought this move made a lot of sense.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people will disagree. And on principle, I disagree. I feel like having star players is much better than having prospects, which is what the Marlins traded for. Mm-hmm. But when you're paying someone the way that he did in any sport, baseball, football, basketball, if you're paying one person that much money, it's very difficult to build a winning team around it. And that's why I feel like that's why the Warriors have been able to be as successful for as long as they have been, is because, last year I feel like Steph Curry was making like $15 million last year. Durant took less than the max to come join them. Curry just signed this big long max deal extension, so things are going to change, I feel like. But I feel like paying someone as much as he was making makes it more difficult to build a championship team.
Yeah, I learned that Derek Jeter is still a Yankees fan.
I'm not gonna lie. I did raise my eyebrow at that a little bit. Like, oh,
He's planning on
okay.
making a move over there. He's going to go take over. Go get him, Jeter.
He's like, I
He's
want the
gonna sell.
Yankees
He's
to
gonna sell his
prosper.
stake in the Marlins
and his soul in the
go run the
process.
Yankees.
Hey,
Yeah, but any other thoughts about that? I mean, obviously, the Yankees have gone from being this overachieving young team to now being this powerhouse.
I'm pumped.
Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton,
I am pumped.
Gary Sanchez. I mean,
Y'all already know my favorite player is Barry Bonds. I'm all about the home run hits. So having these two together, I'm
Go
going to
watch
be
the
watching a
Yankees.
lot more baseball.
I was listening to someone's radio show today. I can't remember who it was, but they posed the question: over under right now, 100 home runs for Judge and Stanton combined next year.
Way over.
I'm taking the under.
Under. I was taking under.
Taking under?
I think Stanton. I think career-wise, his trajectory's been he's been about 40 a year, high 30s, low 40s a year, and he hit 57 this year, I think, which seems like it was kind of an outlier. And I think Aaron Judge is not going to hit 59 again, or however many he hit.
Ooh.
He's going to hit a lot,
52.
but I feel like those are just outliers, and this was a huge year for the home run. I would take the under on that.
Yeah, speaking of under, we're about 4.5 minutes on our 2-minute drill. So we're going to move on to Carson Wentz and the Eagles. Carson Wentz out for the season.
Yeah, out for the season, torn ACL. That was confirmed today in a press conference by his head coach, Doug Peterson. That freaking sucks.
Yeah,
I just
sucks.
feel like that sucks.
This is what happens every year in football. Derek Carr leads the Raiders to a great season,
Gets hurt.
and then he gets hurt the last game of the season, and guess what? The Raiders shouldn't even be in the playoffs at that point. The Eagles are going to be the same way. Eagles, don't get me wrong, the Eagles, not the Ingles.
The Angles.
The Joe Ingles. The Eagles are good. They're a good team. But without Carson Wentz, having him in the playoffs is like, I'd rather have the Falcons in there.
Why can't this
are there.
happen to Brady? Oh, sorry. Oh, must still be sick. Well,
I don't know. I just feel like we just lost. I mean, we as fans and spectators of the sport, we lost something here. Because not only was he an excellent player, MVP caliber season, fun to watch. I thought Eagles are a great team. Our value of watching the NFL just declined by him being hurt. And it's not just him. There's no J.J. Watt. There's no Deshaun Watson. There's no Andrew Luck. There's so many big, high-profile injuries across the landscape of the NFL this season that, as a fan, it makes it a little more difficult for me to be involved, emotionally in this as I normally am. And that just sucks. That's what comes to mind the most, is that this just sucks that he got hurt.
it sucks, but I don't count the Eagles out. Nick Foles obviously isn't Carson Wentz, but I think the Eagles still make some noise in the playoffs, some big noise.
So that is the end of the 2-minute drill.
Yeah,
Start off the show.
that's the end. That was
So
about
let's go into
that was
the
about
NFC.
that was about a 6-minute, 2-minute drill. We meant 2 minutes per topic.
There were a lot of penalties in that 2-minute
Yeah,
sequence.
we'll delay
It
a
was
game.
6 minutes real time, but 2 minutes on the clock.
Right. So let's focus on
Yeah, let's
the
move
NFC.
into the NFC because obviously a lot has changed now. And it's crazy how with one player getting injured, the whole landscape, the whole scene in the NFC playoffs is completely different. Whole balance of power has been changed. Mm-hmm. The Eagles have been in first place in the NFC most of the year, if not the entire year. They won. They even won that game yesterday. With Carson Wentz getting hurt, they beat the Rams, who are a good team. They scored a lot of points on a good defense. But now that Carson Wentz is gone, the Eagles obviously are not going to be as good a team as they are with him. So how does this change your whole perspective on the NFC playoffs, Derek Crystal?
So for me, the reason that everything changes right now, the thing I learned from watching football yesterday, is that I am not as scared from the 1 and 2 seed in the NFC as I am from all of the seeds coming up from.
So
from
the 1 and 2
bottom.
right now are the Eagles and the
Vikings.
Okay.
Those two teams would not scare me nearly as much as teams that are fighting for a playoff spot, like the Panthers, who just beat the Vikings, the Seahawks, who are always a dangerous team. I know they just lost to Jacksonville, but they're always a dangerous team. The Falcons, who can get hot at any time, and their offense can be spotty, but they're a good team. And even teams like the Cowboys, that, yeah, they might not make the playoffs, but if any of those teams get in, I am much more scared to play them than I am to play a Carson Wentz-less Eagles or a Case Keenum Vikings.
Okay.
That's true. Yeah, right now, if I'm anybody else, I'm not afraid of the Eagles as much, and I'm definitely not afraid of the Vikings. I think going in regardless, I wouldn't have been afraid of Minnesota, but Philadelphia, you still have to watch out for them. Yeah, they don't have Carson Wentz. They're not as explosive without him. However, that defense is still healthy and that defense is still amazing. So we all know defense wins championships. And Nick Foles, he can do just enough to get it done. And I think that defense can carry the rest of the load. So I think at this point, Carolina is scarier, Seattle is scarier. And to me, those are the two scariest teams coming up.
Even the Rams. The Rams are now in a great spot.
Yeah.
I think when you're talking about the
Playoffs.
you have to take into consideration a lot of things. And the two, if you cannot, I feel like you cannot win in the playoffs unless you have two things: a good to great defense and really good quarterback play. Mm-hmm. Those two things, more than anything, define success in the NFL playoffs. And in football in general, college level included. Great defense, good quarterback play, good to great quarterback play is what wins when games matter the most. And that's why I feel like you, Derek, and also you, Biggen, that we don't feel as confident in the Vikings because they have the great defense, but you just feel like at any moment Case Keenum is going to drop off this cliff. Mm-hmm. And he's not going to be playing as well as he has been. He's going to be more like St. Louis Rams, LA Rams, Case Keenum, more than what he's been playing as right now. And I feel like the Eagles are at risk of falling into that same category. They have a good defense, they have a great running game, which the Vikings kind of do, I guess. But they're at risk of falling into that category of good team, no quarterback. I mean, Nick Foles is a serviceable backup. He had one good year in 2013 under Chip Kelly. He had, I think 27 touchdowns, 2 picks, something like that. But outside of that year, he has been a backup. He has been worthy of being a backup. And you can't win Super Bowls with backups, I don't feel like. I mean, we're talking about the
Playoffs.
And you can't have that.
But we've seen bad quarterbacks win Super Bowls.
We've seen bad quarterbacks win Super Bowls, but they've been starters.
That's true. I mean, but let's be honest. The way Peyton Manning played in that last Super Bowl, he looked like a third-string quarterback. And then I said it last week, but Trent Dilfer, when the Ravens won that first Super Bowl, that dude was horrible.
And Brad Johnson won one with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I don't think Joe Flacco is.
Yeah, Joe Flacco's horrible too. Good. I'm sorry, he's not very good.
Well, he's been to a Pro Bowl or two, hasn't he? I don't think. Yeah. Definitely, Brad Johnson never did.
Yeah, Brad Johnson was awful. But that Tampa Bay defense was amazing.
But I do feel like there's something needs to be said about the mental aspect of when your starter goes down. Because when your starter goes down, the game plan changes, the way you play changes, the confidence of even the defense will change when you don't have your starting quarterback.
I agree.
And so I feel like the Eagles are in a tough spot, really kind of close to being what the Vikings are. And the Vikings are a good team. They have a great record. They lost this week, but...
Yeah, and back to Joe Flacco. I mean, yeah, he's been to a Pro Bowl or two, but I mean, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. So, what if I'm in the NFC? The teams I want to be are the teams that are the team that squeaks into the playoffs. Yeah. Like, say you're a random team like the Lions. Okay, like nobody's really scared of the Lions, so I'm using them as an example. You know, if you're the Lions and you get pinned up to play the Eagles without Carson Wentz, the Vikings with Case Keenum, I'd rather play them than having to play, the Seahawks. If the Packers got in with Aaron Rodgers, rather play Vikings or Eagles. There's just so many other teams I'd not want to play than those two teams.
Like?
What do you mean? Like if?
Like who else? Who would you not want to play more than those two teams?
Who would I not want to play more than those teams? Yeah. I wouldn't want to play the Falcons, the Seahawks, and probably the Panthers. And if the Packers got in, not the Packers. And I'd even say if the Cowboys got in, I'd rather not play the Cowboys than play the Vikings in the playoffs. Granted, you're in Minnesota. I don't know if they're going to have that.
It'll be in the Dome.
It'll be in the Dome. Yeah. I mean, if it was in there cold, maybe not. But, yeah, I don't think they're as deep. Like, we saw the Panthers beat them yesterday. And I think that's what's going to happen in the playoffs.
To a degree, I agree with you. There are other teams in the NFC that I would rather play the Vikings before, I believe, the Panthers. For sure. I think they have just enough defense. And if Cam can play as good as we know that he's capable of playing, that's a Super Bowl team because they've been to a Super Bowl with basically the same roster. And so I agree with you to an extent as far as that goes. You already know that I'm skeptical of the Vikings just for the sole reason of Case Keenum. They've got good running game. They've got probably, I think, them and the Jags, the best defenses in the NFL. And that's a winning formula in a lot of ways. Teams have won Super Bowls like that before, but Case Keenum is still the backup. And he is a backup. He's made his career as a journeyman in this league as a backup. And at the end of the day, that's what he is. And so you're going to play a team in the playoffs, and I believe the Panthers are capable of doing this, where they will force Case Keenum to beat you.
Yep.
And I know that teams are probably trying to do that and haven't been successful, but it changes in the playoffs. You can't expect games in the playoffs to be the same as they are in the regular season. If they were to play the Seahawks or the Eagles or the Panthers in the playoffs, those are good enough defenses that they can make Case Keenum beat you, and I would say with 100% certainty that he can't do that. That he cannot drop back, throw the ball 40 times a game, and win it for you, like Super Bowl winning quarterbacks tend to do.
Well, and it's funny you say that because I was watching the Steelers game with my dad last night, and I'm just bringing this up to make a point with Case Keenum. A few minutes left. Pittsburgh's up, I think, 39-38 at this point, or they were down and they were getting ready to score. Something was happening, but my dad was like, oh, Joe Flacco's got the ball. You can count on him to help the Steelers out. It's the same thing with Case Keenum. You can kind of count on him to help out the other team, even though he shouldn't be. He's probably going to give up a big turnover, or he's not going to come up clutch.
So if you, right now, had to bet an amount of money that mattered to you on who's going to come out of the NFC, who's going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl, who are you putting that money on?
Ooh. Oh.
Because I think maybe not just in this room, but across the country, a lot of people would have said the Eagles in the past couple of weeks.
I probably would have said the Eagles.
Even in their losses, I
Me
feel
too.
like they've played really well. But now that they don't have Carson Wentz, you got to move your money to a different team. Who are you moving it to?
Carolina.
Well, okay, Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Would you care to
Care to
expand?
elaborate on that?
I'm taking Carolina again. I mean, and we've already said it, and I don't want to repeat, it over and over again or beat a dead horse. But my main reason for saying Carolina is that man Cam Newton. In recent weeks, Cam Newton, I feel like, has stepped up to elite level. He's kind of gone back to MVP Cam Newton. Not as good as he was last year, but he's right there, and he's only getting better every single week. And we saw that against Minnesota this week. And that defense is finally starting to come into their own. He's starting to utilize his weapons a lot more on offense. Christian McCaffrey's coming up big. Funchess is coming up big. And Greg Olsen will be back, anytime now. And they have Khalil coming back. So their team is getting back together, and Cam Newton's getting back to that Superman level. So I feel like they're scary because nobody is taking the Panthers serious right now. Everybody's thinking, they're going to get to the playoffs. They're going to lose in the first round. So I think they're the scariest team next to Seattle, or Seattle next to them.
Of all these teams that could get in, I'm looking at it. That's tough. The Rams, Saints, Panthers, Falcons, Seahawks, and I hate to keep saying this, but if Aaron Rodgers came back and somehow got the Packers to the playoffs, that'd be scary too.
That'd be very scary.
If I had to put an amount of money that mattered to me on who would come out of the NFC, as of right now, I'd probably take the Rams, and that's because they played the Eagles close to the very end when they had Carson Wentz. So without Wentz, they'd be good. I got to take a team that's already, they haven't guaranteed a playoff spot, but they're looking like they're going to be going to the playoffs. But outside of that, it's tough but I agree with you. Carolina, Atlanta, Seattle, all three of those teams could make a run.
I feel like the answer to this question should be clear. I feel like this is probably the easiest question to answer. Guys, it is the Saints.
Oh.
It is definitely the Saints.
Can't do it.
Best quarterback by far of the remaining teams in the NFC. First ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. Little old, but still an elite quarterback. Of all the teams that you just listed, maybe the only team that runs the ball with more consistency might be the Panthers. The Saints. So what you're talking about is you have a quarterback, Hall of Fame caliber, a double-headed monster at the running back position, and all of a sudden the Saints, out of nowhere, know how to play defense.
Yeah, where did that come from, by the way?
Which is just incredible to me. They made a couple really nice draft picks. Marshawn Lattimore has turned into a really, really good corner, I think.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be a star.
He stepped up.
I don't understand how that's not clear, because I feel like they're going to win the NFC South. They're clearly, as far as offensive talent goes, they have the best left in the NFC.
They might not win the NFC South. They
I think
play
it's pretty
the
good.
Falcons again, and the Falcons
They'll
beat
play
them
the Falcons
once.
again at home.
The Falcons are 8-5. The Saints are 9-4. So if both teams were to win their other games, and the Falcons win that, they'll win the NFC South.
Right. That game will be in New Orleans. And even the game that they played in Atlanta, it came down to a bad interception. I mean, New Orleans is driving in to win the game, and Drew Brees throws an interception. I believe they were inside the 10-yard line. The guy who made the pick was in the end zone, and so you count on Drew Brees to engineer and provide definition for that drive 99 out of 100 times. And he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, been there before. We got a Super Bowl winning head coach already. I feel like that's a clear-cut answer.
I can see that, and I like the Saints. I'd like to see them in there.
You're not feeling that, Biggen.
I'm feeling it, but I'm not feeling it because, you can't count Drew Brees out. Okay, and the Saints, they can put up numbers with the best of them. I mean, there's a few games I'm looking at right now where they've scored over 40 points, even 52 at one point. So they can put up points, and their defense is playing good right now. But that's right now. They haven't played good consistently all year long. And I feel like the Saints, at least from what I've seen all season long, they give up way too many explosive and big plays. And against the wrong team, you give up a big play against Cam Newton, you give up a big play against Russell Wilson, you give up a big play against the Rams and that Aaron Donald defense, they're going to jump on that, and that's going to be a momentum builder for them. So I feel like the defense doesn't play that well in the playoffs. That's just me, though.
They are young. The defense is young,
Very
and that's
young.
dangerous. But I feel like with the balance that they have on offense, the defensive performance will be less important than it might be with other teams like the Vikings, where you really need to hold your opponent under 30 to have a good chance to win. And I feel like that's how the Eagles are going to be from here on out. That's maybe how the Seahawks will end up being. I just feel like the balance, all the pieces are there for the Saints, and now that the Eagles are out of the way, I think it's a pretty clear path.
The thing that is difficult about this question is we don't know who is not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
because
still
honestly,
a lot up in the air. The Seahawks could very well not make the
Saints
playoffs.
and the
That's
Rams, like either one of them could come out. But if it's the Seahawks, Falcons, whoever, if we had this conversation when the playoffs seedings were out, it'd be a completely different conversation. Because in my opinion, I would take the Seahawks over the Saints if I had to put an amount of money that mattered to me. Strictly because it's the Seahawks. Seahawks defense is scary defense. By the way, can we talk about how much I hate the Seahawks, or we hate the Seahawks? I don't know if you guys hate the Seahawks, but did you watch the end of that game?
I hate the Seahawks. I like them.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Biggen likes them.
I like them.
I kind of have beef. And it's more because they're unruly. Like, they just do whatever they want. Pete Carroll seems to be okay with that. That's his coaching style. All right. You're a championship-winning coach at both levels. All right, you do your thing. But it seems like every week one of their players is doing something super outlandish, saying something really stupid in the press, getting kicked out of games, things like that. I mean, it just seems like it's a little too much for me.
Like, don't get me wrong. If a fan is throwing drinks at you, it's probably gonna bug you. But my thing is, Michael Bennett. Like, do you guys watch the end of that game with Jacksonville?
That was stupid.
I watched clips of it, but I did not watch
That's
it.
the first thing that came to my mind is, like, you lost. You talked smack. Michael Bennett, I'm pretty sure, mentioned, was it last year, that you don't win games by 50 unless you're playing Jacksonville. It's like, unless you're maybe playing Jacksonville. It's like, you just lost to Jacksonville.
Yes, sir.
Who I also don't like. But you lost, and then you went, if you're Michael Bennett, you went after that dude's ACL.
Yeah.
That was definitely intent to injure.
Yeah.
100%.
And then he just kept going. After he did it once, he just kept going. And then once they started to get ejected, it's like, who are these guys?
And here's the thing. Okay, if someone on the Eagles, for example, or the Steelers or the Patriots wanted to talk a bunch of smack, I'm okay with that. You're 11-2. You got a great team. Okay, Seahawks are what?
8-5.
8-5. Okay, and you just got diced, and I mean diced, by Blake Bortles. Probably in the bottom 10 of the starting quarterbacks in the league.
Beans.
And then you have the Stones, Earl Thomas, to walk into that locker room and say that he's a subpar quarterback. Okay, well, you just got handled by a subpar quarterback. What does that say about you? That's my beef with the whole everything. Okay, you want to fight somebody in the stands? Obviously, that's childish. Get him off the field. But guy threw a beer at him. Tempers rage. I understand.
Yeah, either way, that's not okay with
Michael
the fan
Bennett's out
did
there. He's
by any
frustrated
means.
that he's losing. Takes a cheap shot, more than one. Obviously, that's not okay. But it happens in sports. But stuff like that, you're getting diced and you want to walk into the locker room and say, oh, no, this guy's subpar. Okay, well, he just waxed you.
He did.
Let's get Michael Bennett some pads, by the way, so it doesn't look like he's wearing a tank out there.
It's a jersey rolled up. That's all it is. I don't understand that. I couldn't play D-line with no shoulder pads. That's impossible. But, yeah.
It is the Sports Room Talk Show, the sports show that actually talks about sports. We'll make that an end to the NFC playoff conversation and move into the last segment of the day because I feel like we're getting a little low on time. But we're going to play a game called Pick Your Poison, where you're going to get two basically bad options and you got to pick one of them to have. Now, me and Derek and Biggen have each thought of a good Pick Your Poison. Why don't we go ahead and start with... Do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so first, before I start, I want to throw a stat out there and have you guys guess at what this stat is.
Okay.
So, top 5, or I should say bottom 5, free throw percentage in the NBA this season.
Like the 5 worst.
The 5 worst free throw shooters so far this season. I'll give you guys...
In order?
Yeah, you can name all
or
5.
Just the 5.
Any 5. I'll give you guys 7. 7 guesses?
7 guesses.
You get 2
right?
freebies.
All right. So I would say for sure...
you guys can come to a conclusion
yeah, I was going to
together.
say... Okay, I would say for sure...
Dwight Howard,
DeAndre Jordan. Andre Robertson.
Andre Robertson. Yep, I'm taking those 3 for sure.
Do you want me to
So
tell you guys?
So we should go with those 3 for sure.
Those 3 for sure.
All right. So what about those 3?
Those 3 are all in there.
Okay,
You have
so
2
2
more.
more.
Good.
Bottom 5.
I'm going to say
Tell me you haven't peaked.
no.
I don't know.
No. What is his name? The big man. He plays for... Is he still in Detroit?
Andre Drummond?
Andre Drummond.
Drummond. What do you think about that?
Bottom 5. I'd say it's probably pretty close if he's not in the bottom 5.
He's got to be in there
We'll
somewhere.
go with Andre Drummond, Derek.
Nope.
All right.
No.
Although Andre Drummond is a 39% career free throw shooter,
Oh.
he's shooting 60% this year.
Yikes.
All right. I see you.
Props.
Making improvements.
Him and
You see,
Rudy.
that's what happens if you practice. If you go into the gym and you practice, you get better. R.E. DeAndre Jordan, Andre Robertson.
So you've used
Just
4.
go in and practice.
You've used 4.
So we have 3 more guesses
You have 3
for
more
2
guesses
spots.
for 2
Two more
spots.
guesses.
I don't know.
Yikes.
I would say-
What about Rajon Rondo?
Has he played this year?
Yeah.
Is he one of them?
Is that your guess?
I don't want to say yes. You let me know. If you want to come to an agreement, we can. If not, I respect it.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Nope, he's not on there.
Golly.
Well, I know one that we talked about pre-show that I probably would not have known.
Okay, so you're going to get a gimme here.
Yeah, so Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons is
Ben
one of those.
Simmons.
I would not have guessed that. We talked about it before we started recording, and I would not have known.
He's like a 52, 55%.
That's a surprise.
free throw
So the last one, I would say...
It's a 57% free throw shooter.
This
by the way.
person is?
No, Ben Simmons. This person is a 55% free throw shooter, 3rd worst in the NBA.
Is he? Okay.
You got 2 guesses. I'll give you a hint on your last guess, but throw one more guess out
This is
there.
our last guess, isn't it?
Have you used 6?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, because Ben Simmons is 6. This is your last guess. Do you want a hint?
Yeah, I definitely
Yes,
do.
please.
Okay, I'll give you this. I can tell you how long he's been in the league, or I can tell you his position. Which one would you rather have?
I'd probably rather have a position.
Position.
Or I'll give you both, and I still don't think you'll get it.
Okay, give
All
us
right.
His
both.
position is a small forward,
Okay.
Forward.
and he's a rookie.
A rookie small forward.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Okay, so rookie small forwards that I can think of off the top of my head: Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum. Is De'Aaron Fox a small forward or
no,
is he
he's
two
point
guard?
guard.
Point guard.
Kyle Kuzma.
Kuzma, Tatum.
That was a good hint, by the way. That's a generous
rookie.
hint.
Was he drafted in the first round?
I'm not giving you more hints. Just pick one.
I don't know then.
Kuzma, Tatum. Is Markkanen a small forward or is he a power forward?
He's probably a power forward, but I think he's a pretty good free throw shooter. I mean, he's a good distance shooter, which means he thinks he's probably a pretty good free throw shooter.
Yikes.
I don't know. I'm stumped. I guess
You want to go Tatum?
for our last guess, we'd probably have to go with Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum is an 84% free throw shooter.
For lack of better options.
The 3rd worst is Josh Jackson.
Okay.
Oh, shoot.
So, just real quick, side note before I hurry and get into my would you rather, because I know I got to hurry. Worst 3-point shooter in the league.
Percentage-wise.
Who is it, percentage-wise?
Austin Rivers.
No.
That's a good guess.
Top 3, one of them is in the Jazz. Ricky Rubio.
Okay.
Great. Thanks, Rick.
Worst 3-point shooter, Dennis Smith Jr.
No. Also a rookie, though. And we'll just leave it at this. Lonzo Ball.
Okay, not shocking at all.
Yeah.
Lonzo Ball. Yeah.
Okay.
He'd be chunking up
His form's
bricks.
great, though. Okay, so let me just quickly get to the would you
chill.
or the pick your poison here.
Yeah.
Okay, Andre Robertson. You are about to face something terrible. You have to
For your life.
You have to step into a ring with Mike Tyson
For
and
hashtag
stand
Mike
there
Tyson Monday.
for Mike Tyson Monday and take a punch square to the face.
Spinal.
I broke my back. So your only hope is your only hope is a free throw to be made.
Okay.
And you get Andre Robertson, who is an active player, or you get Shaquille O'Neal, an inactive player,
goodness.
to shoot the free throw for your life. Who do you take?
Lord. Oh,
I'd probably go Robertson. I think
Darius?
I would definitely go Robertson.
I'm a doing
When I see
guy
Shaq standing with the ball like
with
this,
his fingertips.
that makes me feel like you will never make a distant shot in your life. And so I
He
feel
did
like
hit
Robertson,
one.
he's a decent 3-point shooter, which makes me think he could get it together for a free throw, which he obviously can't. But I think of those two choices, I would take Robertson.
Darius?
I'm a do or die Shaq fan, but I gotta go Robertson.
So let me tell you something interesting, and then you can move on to yours.
Okay.
Andre Robertson is 38.5% this year, 48% on his career. Shaq was 52% on his career. I'm taking the big boy.
Man, the diesel.
That is a crazy stat.
How can I not?
bad? Oh my
And he's
Ugh.
yeah.
Ugh.
Oh no! We suck again!
Was a game where Shaq went 8 for 12 one time in his life.
Yeah, there you
so,
go.
I mean,
I'm taking Shaq. All right.
So you're trying to tell me that you were proud of Shaq for shooting 60% in a game?
yeah, because he had never done it before.
All right, Biggie, why don't you go next?
Okay.
Pick your
So,
poison.
this pick your poison question is it's a little different. So, this is for your life as well. Okay? You have to let LeVar Ball coach your basketball team in a Game of 7 championship series against LeBron James. Okay? Or you have to step in the ring and survive 2 rounds with Mike Tyson.
LeVar Ball.
This is for your
Ball.
life.
Well, okay. All right, well.
I can run away from Mike Tyson. I can't run away from playing for LeVar Ball.
So
if
is
he's my
LeVar
coach.
Ball just coaching? Is he coaching
Wait.
a team that I put together? Is he coaching like the Warriors?
Do they have
No,
to
he's-
win for
He
you
put
to-
together the team. He is the coach.
Okay,
For you
so the
to-
starting lineup.
for you to
LaMelo,
still have your
LiAngelo,
life.
Lonzo Ball.
You have to win.
For
you
you
have
to
to
still
let
have
LeVar
to-
Ball coach your team and win that 7-game series against LeBron James.
Okay, so if he's putting together the team, you're going to have LaMelo, LiAngelo, and
And
Lonzo
Lonzo.
Ball.
Well, LeVar Ball's the devil, so can I sell my soul and win that?
You'd probably
Of those-
sell it
okay,
and not get
I
anything in
honestly
return.
feel like if he was choosing the teams,
He would be on the team. He'd play.
Oh, Mike
okay,
Tyson.
then I would definitely
He
take
would
the Mike
probably
Tyson
play.
because there's no chance. There is literally this much of a chance that you could ever win a 7-game series against LeBron with LeVar Ball in your starting lineup, or even with any of the balls in your starting lineup.
But is there a
I'm
chance you
taking-
could survive Mike Tyson?
I'm
I think
taking no.
There's a small chance, maybe.
I'm
maybe
taking-
a 1% chance. But
I'm-
there's a 0% chance that you win that series.
I'm taking Mike Tyson because if I'm dying, it is not going to be on LeVar Ball's watch.
Can't
I'd
do
rather
it.
take one to my spine.
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah.
I just feel like there is 0 chance.
zero
If
chance.
LeVar Ball, if you have the 3 ball boys and LeVar Ball in a 7-game series
Plus-
against LeBron, there's no
If
chance.
he's on
of that
my team, I'm killing myself anyway, so I better have a chance running around with Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah.
You ain't gonna sell out for Triple B, huh?
Because you could get knocked out by Mike Tyson and still, like,
Somewhat live.
survive, maybe.
Be a vegetable.
But I guess I don't know if that kind of defeats the purpose. That
You
was
can
good.
run.
That was a good one. I like that, Biggen. All right. My pick your poison, which isn't really poison. It's more of just a regular would you rather. You are putting together a baseball team, and you have to play against the Yankees, who now have Giancarlo Stanton.
Oh, Lord.
But you only get 4 people. You can either have a team containing Captain America, Spider-Man, Hawkeye, and the Black Panther,
Oh.
or you can have a team with Iron Man, Thor, Star-Lord, and I'll go with Groot.
That's
First
easy,
of
the
all,
first
let's not forget the fact that right when you said the Black Panther, Darius said, "Oh,
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding.
He's a
No.
little biased.
No.
I'm just kidding." Darius. What was the last guy you said?
Groot. For real?
What?
He's tall and he can like extend
But
his
he's
limbs.
slow.
He could
Thor-
probably
what
play
was-
the entire outfield by himself.
Groot,
Man.
Thor, Iron Man,
Weak.
And Star-Lord.
Star-Lord versus.
Spider-Man.
So you're choosing one of these two teams to play against the
Right.
Yankees.
Yep.
Or you could have Captain America, Spider-Man, Hawkeye, and
Black Panther.
Black Panther.
That's my team.
You know, I would take the second.
With their weapons.
I would take the second team.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, with their weapon, you'll win anyway. So with the
Well, you
second
only
team,
get 4 people
yeah.
against a team of 9.
Well, let me tell you what. I'll take the first one,
Yep.
just for the simple fact of Spider-Man will just catch any of the balls with his
Anything.
web. So they're not unless they hit it on.
Well,
even if they
think
hit
about it.
under.
You have to aim. You'd have to aim at the ball.
Yeah,
Was in
he's
the air,
money, dude.
and
But
hit
you
it.
know, with his spider sense, his time slows down. So, I mean, it's
I
going
guess
to be like the
kinda.
Flash.
Because what's
Like,
Thor gonna do? Throw his hammer up there and hit the ball even further? It's like
For
right now you got a home
Asgard.
run 9,000
Thor,
feet. You
he can
idiot.
fly with the hammer.
Yeah,
Fly ball straight up in the air.
But see, he's got a
Catch, and he's got the hammer that he can swing and hit home runs with pretty
Yeah.
much anytime he wants to.
See, here's the thing. Captain America is basically your average steroided up baseball player. So why not?
I think I'd probably go with Captain America's team too for
Yeah.
the leadership factor.
Heck yeah.
The leadership factor of Captain America, I think.
no, I'm gonna go against. I'm gonna take the team with Groot, knock down third baseman Groot, and then I'll
man.
have Thor as my home run hitter to compete with them. And then Iron Man is, he's center field / shortstop / second base
Man.
/ probably pitcher. Who's the other last guy?
On the Iron Man's team,
I am Groot.
Groot, Iron Man,
Star-Lord, yeah.
He's the most human of
Oh
all
my
of them.
gosh.
Get a
Why?
little comedy in there. Yeah, I'm
what,
taking that
him?
team.
Keep the mood light.
And I'm putting Spider-Man out in the outfield and the center field because he's catching everything. I'm putting Black Panther at shortstop because he's a freak athlete. If you read the comics and watch the previews,
And he's super fast.
it's super fast.
They can run
Cat-like
faster than
reflexes, literally.
Yeah.
Captain America, he's pitching and he's hitting, obviously. And then who was the other one?
Captain America can just
Captain
bunt
America,
with his shield. That's all
Spider-Man,
he can do
Black
all
Panther.
freaking day.
Well, I feel like he could like swing it.
Yeah.
And who else? Who was the fourth one?
On the first team,
Yeah. Captain America
Hawkeye.
and Hawkeye. I'm taking Hawkeye because that dude has
Hawkeye's also
his
very
eye
human.
is great. It is, but
but he could throw.
he can throw. He's very accurate. Shoot an arrow with a mitt on it
Interesting
and catch the
question, food
ball.
for thought for everybody listening. Send us your responses. You can send us your responses via Twitter. Oh, did you want to add something?
Yeah, just on Friday we're having our friend Chase Sorensen
Oh, that's
join us.
right.
He's a massive Eagles fan, like over the top Eagles
Think of the
fan.
biggest fan that you know of any sports team, and Chase is probably double that person. You have never met him. This
I've never met
would
him.
be a treat for you.
But we're excited to have Chase join us and talk some Eagles, some Carson Wentz. So tune in if you want to hear Chase go off about his Eagles.
Let us know how you'd respond to all of our picks, our pick your poisons, I guess. You can tweet at us on Twitter @_thesportsroom_. Follow us on Instagram, same handle. Email us at thesportsroomtalkshow@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook. Join us again on Friday. That's going to be amazing to have Chase here. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good week.